All right, welcome to Lightning Talk number 2. This is Sietse Snel from Utrecht, and he's got II command line utilities for iRODS. Go for it.
Thank you, Terrell. I would like to present some work in progress on II, a set of command line utilities for iRODS. II is written in Python and uses the Python iRODS client library to talk to iRODS servers. The main idea is to create some tools where it's easy to prototype some new functionality or try new things and to see what's useful. And I would like to shortly present three tools that are currently in the utilities. The first one is ls, which is the II equivalent of ILS. On the right side of the sheet, you can see two screenshots. The upper one shows ILS, the iCommands version, and the lower one shows the II version. As you can see, there are some differences in presentation. For example, II shows the collections and data objects in a common table and shows human-readable file sizes, as well as a few other things. It's possible to sort data objects by name, extension, size, and date. And if you want to export or to feed the output of ls to another tool, to another script, you can output it as in a format like CSV or JSON or YAML. The present version supports wildcards for data objects, and hopefully the next version will also support wildcard searches for collections. The next tool is find, and it basically addresses the scenario where you want to select a couple of files or data objects and run some command on them. So in Linux, you would usually use the find command to select files and then use something like xargs or parallel to feed it to another command. And well, the II find command is an attempt to translate the basics of that to iRODS. It can currently select data objects by their name, owner, resource, or size. And the screenshot below shows an example where you would select .dot files between 5 and 20 megabytes on resource demo risk, and then you would use xargs to tell iREPL to replicate those data objects to another resource. And the print 0 option is meant to make it work with data objects that have white space in them. So that's redundant if you don't have such data objects. The last tool is iSwitch, which can be used to switching iCommands quickly between multiple environments. So a typical use case would be where you have a client on a system that needs to talk to multiple iRODS zones, or you would like to use multiple user accounts for testing, for example. And the screenshot shows an example of how it works. The iSwitch list command prints a list of available environments. The little star next to production means that that's the active environment. So if you're running an ILS, then it will show a directory listing of that environment. And switching to another environment would be a single command, like iSwitch to test. And that would automatically replace the environment file and the scrambled password file, so you don't have to re-authenticate again. And then the iCommands are switched to another environment. iSwitch is currently in a separate repository, but the idea is to integrate it into II itself. You can find information about how to install and use these tools in the READMEs, in the GitHub repositories. So if you're interested, you can give it a try in Vagrant or in a test server or something. And yeah, feedback and contributions are welcome via email or GitHub. And I'm also available in Slack in case of any questions. Thank you for your time.
Very good. Thank you. I hadn't seen this before. It's great. There are two questions. One is the JSON output, like you showed from the list command. Is it controllable? And the reason is because John Constable asks that JSON as an input is what they use for Batten. And so if there's an easy way to plumb those together, it might be very handy.
In the current version, it's only controllable in the sense that you would give, like, for example, a wildcard for the data object names that it should match. But if there are other things that would make it more useful, I'm certainly interested in hearing that. Right.
So the format of the JSON is not necessarily manipulable, but perhaps that could be like an input file, a template of some kind or something could be populated, perhaps.
Right. I suppose you'd need an external tool to translate it in that case.
Right. And then he had another question. The iSwitch replaces the authentication file. How does that work? Is that right?
Yeah, so it's the way it works is basically that it has a directory with an environment file and a scrambled password file for each environment that you would like to connect to. And when you say iSwitch to, then it replaces these files.
Got it. Okay, so it already has them available, and it's switching the environment variable or connecting via them. Yeah.
Right, and there are some commands to change or to import them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. Yes, I think that's it. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.